I'm so excited that we get to get back to our book today. I was just flipping right before I started recording to see what we read before. We know that Zan has gone back to this old castle and she's being flooded with all of these memories. And I'm reading back to when her mentor, Zosimo, said to her, "Be careful of your sorrow. Your sorrow is dangerous. Don't forget that she is still about." And so Zan had swallowed her sorrow and her memories. She buried both so deep that she would never ever find them, or so she thought. So it seems like Zan feels like her memories are dangerous. And now she's coming back to a place where she's having to pull them back up. So let's see what happens next. And I'm at the top of 73 for those of you that are following along in newer books. But now she remembered the castle. She remembered its crumbly strangeness, its nonsensical corridors, and the people who lived in the castle. Not just the wizards and scholars, but the cooks and scribes and assistants as well. So it seems like this castle was very much active and alive. She remembered how they scattered into the forest when the volcano erupted. She remembered how she put protective spells on each of them. Well, each of them but one, and prayed to the stars that each spell would hold as they ran. She remembered how Zosimos hid the castle within each stone in the circle. Each stone was a door. Same castle, different doors. Don't forget. I mean it. "I won't forget," she said at age 13. "You will surely forget, Zan. Have you not met yourself?" He was so old then. How did he get so old? He had practically weathered to dust, but not to worry. I've built that into the spell. Now, if you don't mind, my dear, I've treasured knowing you and lamented knowing you and found myself laughing in spite of myself each day we were together. But that is all past now, and you and I must part. I have many thousands of people to protect from this blasted volcano, and I do hope you'll make sure they are ever so thankful, won't you, dear?" He shook his head sadly. "What am I saying? Of course you won't." And he and this simply enormous dragon disappeared into the smoke and plunged themselves into the heart of the mountain, stopping the eruption, forcing the volcano into a restless sleep. This is very interesting. So now we learn that Zosimos, who is Zan's teacher, her mentor, actually sacrificed himself along with the enormous dragon. They plunged themselves into the volcano, which resulted in the volcano not erupting, not destroying the entire village. And I'm thinking about a little baby dragon who is Zan's very good friend, and I'm wondering if that dragon is related to the enormous dragon that went into the volcano with Zosimos. So many questions. Oh, this is the end of chapter 10. Both were gone forever. How sad. Zan never did anything to protect his memory or to explain what he had done. Indeed, within a year, she could barely remember him. It never occurred to her to find it strange. The part of her that would have found it strange was on the other side of the curtain, lost in the fog. So it seems like it was so painful for her to endure this as a young child that she kind of just pretended it never happened. She peered into the gloom of the hidden castle. Her old bones ached and her mind raced. Why had her memories hidden themselves from her, and why had Zosimos hidden the castle? She didn't know, but she was certain where she could find the answer. She knocked her staff against the ground 3 times. Her staff is like that stick that she holds, until it produced enough light to illuminate the dark. And she walked into the stone. Oh, I feel like the end of every chapter just makes me more and more excited to keep reading this book. So I'm going to begin chapter 11, which is on page 75. Chapter 11 is entitled, "In Which a Witch Comes to a Decision." So maybe this chapter will give us some answers. Please make sure, maybe after I finish reading, or you can pause as I finish each page, or as we finish each page, make sure you're pausing to just write quickly on a Post-it what's happening on that page, maybe what questions you have, or maybe the page gives us some answers. So make sure that you're continuing to track your thinking, because so much is happening in this book. That's what we do as readers. Think about your thinking every page that we turn. Here goes chapter 11. Zan gathered books by the armload and carried them from the ruined castle to her workshop. Books and maps and papers and journals, diagrams, recipes, artwork. For 9 days, she neither slept nor ate. Luna remained in her cocoon, pinned in place. Oh yeah, remember Luna was getting so out of control with her magic? Zan put a spell on her, so she's in this kind of bubble cocoon, sort of frozen in time. She didn't breathe. She didn't think. She was simply paused. Every time Glurk looked at her, he felt a sharp stab in his heart. He wondered if it would leave a mark. He needn't have wondered. It surely did. You cannot come in, Zan told him through the locked door. I must focus. And then he heard her muttering inside. Night after night, Glurk peered into the windows of the workshop, watching as Zan lit her candles and scanned through hundreds of open books and documents, taking notes on a scroll that grew longer and longer by the hour, muttering all the while. She shook her head. She whispered spells into lead boxes, quickly slamming the door, shut the moment the spell was uttered and sitting on the lid to hold it in. Afterward, she cautiously opened the box and peeked inside, inhaling deeply as she did through her nose. Cinnamon, she'd say, and salts. Too much wind in the spell, and she'd write that down. Or methane, no good. She'll accidentally fly away. Plus, she'll be flammable, even more than usual. Or, is that sulfur? Great heavens, what are you trying to do, woman? Kill the poor child? She crossed several things off her list. Has Auntie Zan gone mad? Furion asked. No, my friend, Glurk told him, but she has found herself in deeper water than she expected. She's not accustomed to not knowing exactly what to do, and it is frightening to her, as the poet says. And now we know that Glurk likes to communicate in poems, so now we have a poem. The fool, when removed from solid ground, leaps from mountaintop to burning star to black, black space. The scholar, when bereft of scroll, of quill, of heavy tone, falls and cannot be found. Is that a real poem? Furion asked. Of course it's a real poem, Glurk said. But who made it, Glurk? Glurk closed his eyes. The poet, the bog, the world, and me. They're all the same thing, you know, but he wouldn't explain what he meant. So I'm going to pause here, right at the middle of page 77. And as I'm pausing, I'm kind of just going back and thinking about what's happening in this chapter and how it connects to the chapter that we just read. So this is what we have to do. We're kind of chewing as we read. We have to make sense of what is going on in this very complex story. So I'm thinking back that Zan went to this very important place, the castle, where her mentor died and where the giant dragon died. And I don't know about you, but I'm thinking the giant dragon was Furion's mother. I'm sure we'll find out. Hey, Mr. Calamaris, could you take the chicken out of the oven, please? Yes. Thank you. Now she's left the castle with tons of stuff, with books and diagrams and scrolls, and she's working on solving a problem. And she does not have the answer to the problem yet. And what she's working on is she's trying to help Luna. She's trying to figure out how she can support Luna in, I think, controlling her magic or managing her magic in a less kind of chaotic way. And she's not there yet. And Glurk and Furion are kind of watching as she tries to sort this out. Meanwhile, Luna is cocooned. She's kind of paused in this bubble while Zan tries to figure out how to help her. So, will Zan figure it out? We shall see when we read together next time. I hope you guys are enjoying your break, getting ready for New Year's Eve, thinking about what are we bringing into our lives in the next year as we get into 2025. In the meantime, know that I love you, I miss you, and we will read together again soon.